So everybody saw the video with Pastor John Gray, and he was on Sisters Circle TV talking about...
The life that I chose is better than the man that I am. I married a woman 2 sizes too big. I have to grow into Aventer. She's a coat. I still can't fit her. She's bigger than me. And she's had to cover me while I grow up. I got to grow into her.
So she's a covering.
She's a covering, not a lid.
Ooh,
because if a man marries a lid, she'll stop your dream. But if you marry a covering, she'll push you to your destiny. Now, I'm about to shout and tear this whole thing up. I'm just telling you.
All the way out of this stuff.
Let me tell you something. My wife has endured more pain birthing me than both of our children. She has sacrificed these last 8 years uncovering the painful areas of my manhood and covering the areas that could have exposed me. She deserves anything I can give her. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm going to live the rest of my life to honor her because she gave me what I couldn't give myself, which is a chance to heal while still seeing the God in me.
So I wanted to see what you thought about that. I guess Renita first. What did you think?
Well, yeah, okay. Like I was saying, simply put, I think he's trash for that. You know, we can run it back a bit. And I'm not calling the man himself trash. I'm pretty sure he's probably been a decent-ish husband and a good father, and you know,
like kind of.
Like let's refer to my last post that good men could be trash too. All right.
Did you say recycling though, or something like that?
No, that's for the men who's elevated past being trash. They're recycling. He clearly has some elevation yet to do.
So there's hope. All right.
But let's run it back to like where in the beginning where he is like, you know, I married a woman who's 2 sizes, you know, 2 coat sizes bigger than me or some shit like that. Yes. But first of all, let's think about that for a second from like her point of view, right? So there's a lot of emotional and mental like baggage to deal with someone, because a lot of times like men think like we realize like I don't want to say better than, but like we realize that we are the more mature one in this relationship, right? So not only yes, this is working out really well for you and you find someone who can, you know, I guess push you and be there and like challenge you, but like that means you're 2 coat sizes small for me.
Right.
Right. So what am I getting from this? Like, and I'm sitting here pushing, you know, through it, but like that takes a lot of work. And I think what I'm trying to, how I feel about it, and you guys can, you know, jump in whenever, but if you want to deal with that, if you, like, I understand relationships are challenging and like, obviously 2 people need to grow as well. But if you want to be with that, then that's fair. But if you as a woman, if you decide like this is not for me, that's also fair. And I think that's the side of it that's not promoted, that you don't have to deal with this, right? Like you can find someone, you should, I would hope, I would want to find someone that's my coat size, like that we challenge and, you know, inspire each other. Not this is like very one-sided.
I wouldn't even say it's okay even if you want it, because that's like saying, and I understand what you're saying, but I mean, I was listening to on the radio this morning, there was a, you know, one of those, it was Hot 97, one of those curved. You ever heard of that, curved on Hot 97? So they have somebody who was curved by somebody else and they call the radio station saying, yo, can you call him for me?
I'm one of those people that want to talk about every little minute detail of things that don't matter. Man.
How'd she look, though?
Oh, no, she was bad.
Really? You kissed her at the end of the night, right?
Oh, you know that.
Why'd you do that, though, if you weren't really interested?
Because she was bad.
Got it.
I mean,
all right.
I understand.
He's making sense.
Well, we can go out again. I just mean if you could talk just a little bit less.
Okay, so moving forward, that was really good.
Oh, she want to go out, Tim? She still doesn't care. She wants to go out. She's trying to get that.
He doesn't care about her. She's like, yo, she talks too much. She talk every little thing. She talks too much, and he decides though to go out with her still because she's bad. So, and you could tell he doesn't care about this girl, and the girl is still with it. Like there's people like that. And like I was talking about my wife earlier, she was saying, there's some, sometimes women put up with stuff because they feel like there's not a lot of guys out there or good guys out there.
But I mean, you should be comfortable being by yourself. Like, I mean, you've had a good life by yourself or a decent, reasonable life by yourself. Then you get into a relationship with some guy that doesn't have any sense. Like you've put yourself, you've made your life worse. Like you were good by yourself.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be two heads better than one. Then you added somebody else, and you're not even maintaining the status quo. Now you're going down. Yeah, why would you subject yourself to that? Even if there are no good men out there, then let it be. Just be by yourself.
And how do you
I think
determine
you're
there
raising
ain't
a
no
point.
good men out there? Be like, tell me where you've been to tell me there ain't no good men out there. You know what I'm saying? If you're telling me you've been in New York, then like your evaluation tool is all skewed. You know what I'm saying? Probably the men that you chose maybe have been
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you cannot evaluate the sum of your experiences to be a total like context as to what's out there or not. You know what I mean? But
I think Reggie, well, two things with that. One, with what Ogu said, you're okay with yourself. Like that's the thing. A lot of people aren't comfortable and okay with themselves, right? Like they don't know how to be with themselves. They have obviously this idealistic idea of a relationship. Number one. Number two, and this goes back again to what I said last Tuesday. Yes, there may be a lot of good men out there, but not a lot of good men know how to be in emotionally healthy relationships and understand what that means and like how to share like your life with someone and like how to compromise and listen and understand and what does it mean to have like a healthy argument, right? Like arguments happen, things happen, but like how do I not like blow up in this, or like there's some, it's like, yes, there might be good men out there, but when I think it's that a relationship requires a lot more than you being quote unquote good.
No, I hear what you're saying, sis. But what I'm saying is like, okay, what are the criterias what are the criterias that we hold men to call them good or bad? You know what I'm saying? Because I think everybody has a different paradigm. Everybody has a different definition. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say like, Ogo has a different definition, Renee, you have a different definition, or whatever case may be. And then let's just say they both ended up in bad experiences. Then that supposed good man, based on your definition, becomes like whatever you want to call him. You know what I'm saying? And in terms of like how the audience perceives that is, they're not considering your individual definitions. They're just saying, oh, well, all men are dogs, or all men are this. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the person who defines what a good man is, first, like as to what Ogo was saying, they got to define what things are, like who they are first.
Yes.
And then who they are first, then defines who that man would be for them. You know what I'm saying? Then we can evaluate good. You know what I'm saying? Or no matter whatever that means.
I mean, I do think if someone does that, like for example, we've all been in relationships that didn't work out or something like that. I don't think, those men or, those women that you guys have been with, and you may have a different opinion, are necessarily trash because they didn't work out, right? Like, and that is like a lacking on some people. I'm not, hopefully, which, obviously that may not always be true. There are some people out there that didn't work out, they're mad for whatever reasons. Like, well, he was trash, he was this, he was that. And it's more probably you guys weren't compatible or things like that. Like, fair. I will concede to that point. I still think a lot of y'all are trash, but it's fine.
but for me, like the video, like I mean, I don't know if it's this modern era. Like a lot of Black men, I think they're beginning to recognize the stress or the emotional things, the struggle that Black women go through in supporting their husbands or their Black boyfriends, their Black brothers. And so they overcompensate with poetry. So like, I feel like, like, for example, in the SDA church, when it's time for Mother's Day, she's a queen, she's a diva, she's a this, she's a that, she's that. When it comes to Father's Day, you're like trash talking the man. So and these are male pastors that are often doing that. So I think they're doing that because they're recognizing that, Black women have gone through this, Black women have been with us, Black men did, and they now begin to make her sound like God. like all those things he was saying in the video, I was like, that's not a human being. Like, for you to be reborn, that's John chapter 3 verse thingy, when Christ was speaking to Nicodemus. Like, he's the only one that can rebirth you and make you born again.
Right.
He is not God. You are really trying to kill her.
I think well, two things. One thing is when you mentioned why am I drawing a blank now? But whatever. That is something that is an attribute of God. I mean, what the Bible says, which, I mean, he's a Christian pastor, so I'm sure he's believing, this, that you're born again through the Messiah. And so now you're saying this woman is rebirthing me instead. And yeah, you really are trying to make her or give her the burden that God is supposed to have. You know what I mean?
Yes. And sorry, Reggie. And I think like that's how, like, in the quest or in the idea of praising a Black woman, they've elevated her to this status that she cannot maintain. Like, she has this superwoman status that she doesn't have to, that is very unrealistic. Like that is just impossible. Even Superman has his limitations. Like, you can't expect a woman to be 2 coat size bigger than you. Like, like, not only is she carrying the burden of the family, then she has to treat you like a child. I'm like, no, she's supposed to be your equal and you help me. Then you're turning her into a slave.